Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, the classic indie playbook of slandering Sanatan Dharma to stay relevant. But can these leaders like Jitendra Awad get away with this anymore? At 8:30 p.m. tonight, more visual clinchers on Operation Sindoor, the 20-second clip of a Jaish camp in ruins that no other network in the country has. And once again, fact-checked by the Supreme Court, ladies and gentlemen, over his continuous false statements. Tonight at 9 o'clock, I'll tell you why Rahul Gandhi's policy is to lie 1,000 times to make it a truth. But first, ladies and gentlemen, how easily people slander Hinduism, how easily people slander Sanatan Dharma. Jitendra Awad calls Sanatan Dharma Vikruti. He says, and he's from the NCP, Sharad Pawar's party, not surprisingly. He says Sanatan Dharma has ruined India. He calls it a so-called Sanatan Dharma. He said Sanatan Dharma was against Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He says he's a follower of the Hindu Dharma, but not a follower of the Sanatan Dharma. In fact, in English translation, what he has said sounds worse. Ladies and gentlemen, would Jitendra Awad have used this language about any other religion? Not that I want him to. Not that I want him to, but would he have used such language about any other religion is a question we must ask, collectively ask. Kamal Haasan in Chennai says, education should be used to target Sanatan Dharma. So he makes education an antidote to Hinduism. For Sanatan Dharma is Hinduism. Hinduism, Hindutva, Hindu, Sanatan Dharma, all one and the same. There is no point in people like Kamal Haasan trying to draw a wedge between either when they don't have the depth to understand it. He says education is the only weapon that can break the chains of dictatorship and Sanatan. So he makes Sanatan Dharma, Hinduism, an equivalent of an immoral dictatorship. Would he say that about the ISIS philosophy? No, he won't speak about the ISIS philosophy. He won't even speak about jihadi philosophy. He won't speak about the PFI philosophy. He will not speak about the Simi philosophy. He will not call the jihadi philosophy regressive. He will not even speak about the Taliban. If Sanatan is regressive, Kamal Haasan, is Taliban progressive? Are jihadis progressive? Is the ISIS philosophy progressive? And what is this about the kind of instances Jitendra Awad puts up? And you know, to everyone, including fellow Hindus, how many times have you been in a situation where someone points at you and says, do you support Godse? You are a believer in Godse's point of view, they say. And I would say to all Hindus, do not ever be on the back foot if someone throws that unfair question at you. Ask them in turn, what made you try to stigmatize my religion by faking and falsifying Godse as its ambassador, which is not? If you have the ability, the courage, the depth, the interest, then go back into 4, 5 or more thousand years of history to understand the true spirit of Sanatan Dharma. But I am not using Osama to put anyone on the back foot. I am not using Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale to put anyone on the back foot. So, ladies and gentlemen, this irrational behavior where you cross the line has to stop. I know Hindus are patient, Hindus are progressive, and Hindus are rational, and Hindus are by nature non-violent. But Jitendra Awad and Kamal Haasan have crossed the line, which is why in a short and sharp debate, I will tear them apart intellectually this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's debate.
The anti-Sanatan lobby has struck again. A group of leaders who survive and thrive on spreading hate against a religion.
सनातन धर्माने भारताचं वाटोळं केलं. सनातन धर्म नावाचा धर्मच नव्हता. आम्ही हिंदू धर्माला मानणारे आहोत. ज्या सनातन धर्माने आमच्या शिवरायांना राज्याभिषेक नाकारला, ज्या सनातन धर्मियांनी आम्हाला आमच्या छत्रपती संभाजींना बदनाम करून टाकलं, त्यामुळे सनातन धर्म आणि हे सनातनी विकृत आहेत हे म्हणायला कोणीच घाबरलं नाही पाहिजे.
Sanatan Dharma has ruined India. Sanatan Dharma and its ideology are perverted. These are the words of a politician who has zero regrets.
I never knew there is a religion called as Sanatan Dharma. I believe I am a Hindu, a staunch Hindu. Because Hindu Dharma accepts everything that is logical. And please don't try to teach me of Hinduism.
When confronted on his divisive, shameful comments, he blocks and pushes the Republic mic.
सर सनातन पे जो आपने बयान दिया, क्या उसमें माफी मांगेंगे? सर माफी मांगेंगे? नहीं हम पूछ रहे हैं.
And he is not the only leader. Kamal Haasan is calling for the removal of Sanatan. He says education is a weapon against Sanatan Dharma.
தன்னை பிள்ளைகளுக்கு கல்வி கிடைக்காமல் செய்து விட்டது இந்த சட்டம். அகரம் நினைச்சா ஒண்ணும் விட முடியாது. அந்த சட்டத்தை மாற்றி எழுதக்கூடிய பலத்தை தருவது கல்விதான். அந்த கல்வி இந்த போரில் ஆயுதமின்றி நாட்டையே செதுக்க வல்லது. இது சர்வாதிகார சங்கிலிகளை, சனாதன சங்கிலிகளை எல்லாம் நொறுக்கி தள்ளக்கூடிய ஒரே ஆயுதம் இதுதான். இதை தவிர வேற எதையும் கையில் எடுக்காதீங்க.
The Hindu hate is being called out.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, इस बात को लेकर के वसुधैव कुटुंबकम मानने वाला यह सनातन धर्म है. इन धर्म में मानव सेवा सर्वोपरि कही गई है. क्या आपने इसका अध्ययन नहीं किया? कौन से विकृत शास्त्र का अध्ययन करके अब श्रावण मास में साधु संतों का करोड़ों उपवास तप करने वाले हिंदुओं की भावनाओं को आहत कर रहे हो?
He is uttering words which all will make DMK chief and the DMK functionaries happy. For that he want to insult the sentiments of the people who are following the Sanatan Dharma.
कांग्रेस की कोख में से जन्मे सभी राजनीतिक और राजनेता दल, यहाँ राजनेता, ये सारे के सारे अभी बौखलाए हुए हैं. लेकिन मैं एक बात स्पष्ट कर दूं, ये सनातन है, हिंदू है, हिंदुत्व है, भगवा है, ये उस हाथी की तरह है जो मदमस्त होकर चलता है, धर्म के मार्ग पर चलता है, सात्विक शक्तियों के साथ चलता है और पीछे भौंकने वाले भौंकते रहते हैं.
For political reasons, for appeasement or for vote bank, Sanatan and Hindus have become a soft target for these politicians. But for how long?
Shaina NC of the Shiv Sena and Shantanu Gupta, who's an author and an RSS voice tonight, are on the debate with Abdul Razak and Pula Rao. Now, Pula Rao, Kamal Haasan first. Kamal Haasan says that we must counter Sanatan Dharma with education. He says we must counter Sanatan Dharma with education. Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism, we must counter Hinduism with education. Which means Hinduism, if anyone follows it, that person is uneducated. And you need education to take away the taint of Hinduism. Now, hypothetical situation. What if someone were to say, what if Shantanu Gupta were to say that you need to be educated to be able to counter Islam? What if he were to say hypothetically that you need to be educated to counter the teachings of Islam? He would be sartan se juda by now. But you can say anything about Hinduism in this country. Anything. Shantanu, you have a free run to abuse Hinduism in this country, any which way, any style you use. What if he were to say that in a public gathering, he were to say, listen, You must be educated and use education to counter the dictatorship of Islam. What would the response be?
Should I start or?
Yes.
Well, I'm really, really surprised. You're enunciating a new doctrine. There is freedom here. You can talk. You can talk. Kamal Haasan, all he said was, get education. Education, once you're educated, he believes that it will counter Sanatan or whatever ideas. But it may also go the other way around. Education is not something that can be controlled. Are you telling me that in this vast country, you can't have more than one opinion?
No, you can, but you're not answering my question. I'm saying by the same logic, Pularao, by the same logic, let 1,000 flowers bloom would be the argument. If you so love the argument of Kamal Haasan and you feel he's in a democratic country exercising his democratic right, then does Shantanu Gupta or does Shaina NC have the right to say that you must use education to counter Islam and Islam is a dictatorship?
You see, you can counter anything which is against the Constitution.
What would the response be?
You can
Don't stumble. Now answer the question now. Come on. You're hunting for words.
You can counter anything. You can counter it. You can educate people if an ideology.
So why doesn't he say, Abdul Razak, one minute, Abdul Razak, why does Kamal Haasan not say, you must use education to counter the jihadi thinking? Why not?
The reply, Arnab. You yourself gave the reply. If he says, he knows what will be the consequence. So let us not delve into it.
No, 1 minute. If he says he knows what will be the consequence. 1 minute. Just 1 minute. No, Razak, wait there. He says, Shaina, that if he were to use similar language about Islam, he knows what would be the consequence. Yeah. Did you see these words?
And look at the audacity of the man. No, 1 minute. Let me quote exactly what he said. He said, only a weapon capable of dismantling the shackles of dictatorship and Sanatan is education. I want to ask, is this the same Kamal Haasan who opposed the NEET in 2017? And look at the audacity of Jitendra Awad. He has said Sanatan Dharma is the perverted ideology distinct from Hindu Dharma and has been responsible for caste oppression and social exclusion. Arnab, how many of us have read history to know what actually Sanatan Dharma is? And he goes on, these urban Naxals like Jitendra Awad and Kamal Haasan, and I say with absolute responsibility, both are urban Naxals. He says that, denying Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj his coronation and defaming Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj and opposing social reformers like Jyotiba Phule, that is what Sanatan Dharma is. Now, how perverted is this ideology of his? I think that we need to unequivocally condemn, because in a country like ours, what are we demanding? We are demanding that if you hurt the sentiments of Hindus,
Madam, they are not
you must just apologize. This is the culture and heritage of
they are not talking about
religion of our country, and those who speak against it are insulting.
The irony here,
vote bank politics, and you play this social.
The irony here.
Worse, because you are nothing but an Naxalite, an urban Naxalite.
So the question goes again. You have called Hindus and Hinduism all kinds of names. You've called it dengue, malaria, AIDS, cockroaches, termites, everything. Every possible abuse has been used against Hinduism.
Like saffron terror also.
Yeah, but now it is being said that if you want to counter the dictatorship and Hinduism and a Hindu dictatorship and Hindu religion and Sanatan, which is a dictatorship, the only way out is education, which means you must educate yourself. What if that is told to someone who is studying in a madrasa? Okay, Atik, if someone learning in a madrasa is told.
Arnab, why are you trying to make this Hindu-Muslim?
I am not making it
Arnab,
Hindu-Muslim. I am
Muslim?
saying that when someone abuses Hindu, it is freedom of expression for you. But even if I were to suggest that what would happen if similar language were to be used against any other religion, you find it offensive.
That somebody should abuse Muslims?
No.
This
1 minute.
is nothing to do.
Atik.
There is
The question
absolutely nothing to do with
the
Islam.
question being, and let me bring Shantanu here.
All about
Kamal Haasan is the biggest hypocrite in Tamil Nadu and in the country, and I'll explain why. He does a movie called Dashavataram. Can I have the poster, please? Where he, to promote his movie, Shantanu, and to make money, he portrays himself as a devout Hindu. With a tilak and everything, he uses the Hindu mythology of Dash Avatar, to make a movie. And he draws from it because he knows there are devout Hindus not only in Tamil Nadu but across the country who will watch the movie if he portrays it like this. And then he comes out and says, we must collectively educate ourselves to fight and end Sanatan Dharma. But he will use Sanatan Dharma to make money, to do a marketing campaign. He will act, he will open his eyes in a big way, he will wear big necklaces, he will behave like a devout Hindu going to the temple through morning, evening and night. Can I have the picture, please? That is what I call an unadulterated and shameless, absolute hypocrite. And then he goes wearing a black shirt on a stage and he says, we must educate ourselves to finish Sanatan Dharma. Arey, what are you doing? You made a movie. Look at this movie.
Yeah.
He portrays himself like a Hindu Bahubali out there because he wants to make 100, 200 crores. There's one more image.
Arnab,
This is Dashavatar.
Arnab, if Kamal Haasan is doing what you don't like, you don't vote for him. I have not voted this government or any other party on the basis of religion.
No. Why did you not react like this when there are some people who said, Atik, answer to your question. Some people said, why is Atikur Rahman taking offense to what Nupur Sharma is saying? If you don't like what Nupur Sharma is saying, don't listen to her. If you don't like what Nupur Sharma is saying, don't listen to her.
That's what I've said on your channel with you.
You said that, but no, 1 minute, just 1 minute. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? When it came to the Nupur Sharma, you were all sartan se juda.
Opportunism.
People of India need a fair investigating agencies so that the culprits of the blast in India are brought to justice.
1 minute. This is a serious matter. Don't try to deflect from it. There are people who are calling Hinduism perverted. There are some people who are saying we must educate ourselves to fight Hinduism. Education will free you of Hinduism. This is abuse. Shantanu.
See, Arnab, Hinduism is the irritation of the eye world over, right? So world over, it's a fight between Islam and Christianity. They are increasing their subscriber everywhere, right? They've converted the whole world into two religions, Christianity and Islam. In India, they come together and try to increase their subscriber base, right? When I say Hinduism, for me, they try to go into the semantics that the Hindutva is different, Hinduism is different, Sanatan is different, just to confuse people, right? Correct. For me, Hinduism is Swami Vivekananda, Swami Vishwamitra, Swami Vedvyasa, Swami Chanak, Swami Panini, Aryabhatta. They will not talk about it because they know agar kuch kar denge to we will see what we have done with Danish cartoons, what we have done with French cartoons, what we have done with Nupur Sharma, what we have done with Daniel Pearl, Kanhaiya Lal. वो 2-3 को डरा के रखेंगे and that's their philosophy. बोलने ही मत दो, ज़्यादा बोलेंगे तो we will have some 2-3 maskets. हम लोग किसी को बोल देंगे कि वो के क्या हिंदुत्व है, क्या हिंदुइज्म है, क्या सनातन धर्म. And dare you speak और उनके भी if there any problem in Islam, Narendra Modi has to come and remove Triple Talaq. Narendra Modi has to come and clear Waqf board. They will not say anything.
You are not answering the people.
No, I am addressing the question.
What exactly is the Hindu Dharma?
I am saying here today, I'm 1 minute, Atikur Rahman.
Why did you fail?
Atikur Rahman, there is China NC on the program. And there is a man called Jitendra Awad who does not even spare Hindu festivals. He said that Hanuman Jayanti and Ram Navami are all for riots only. What if someone were to say Muharram is for riots only? How would you react? Sartan se juda, you would start.
No, that's what the media channels are doing since the 90s.
No. You see, there is Kamal Haasan there. Do you see him there? Shaina.
What do you mean by breaking the chains of Sanatan?
There is Kamal Haasan in that image. Do you see Kamal Haasan in that image, Shaina?
Yeah.
But do you see Kamal Haasan in that image?
Yeah, absolutely.
Portrayed like a Hindu devout.
He's playing to the gallery. He is playing to the gallery. It's convenience, it's opportunism. You talk about breaking the chains of Sanatan and you criticize the traditional hierarchical aspects associated to Sanatan Dharma, which hello, please let me finish my point. Whether it's Tamil Nadu or any other part of the country, upholding caste-based inequalities and then getting into controversy, sparking with critics, accusing them of, espousing the Sanatan Dharma, a religious concept and forms of oppression. I mean, this just can sound all very intellectual. It is nothing but pseudo-secular and pseudo-intellectual. That's why I call them urban naxals. You talk about non-violence, education, if it has to be used as a tool for knowledge, which is to unite people, then do the same in the madarsas as well, no? Why are you only talking about Hindus? Why aren't you talking about Muslims or Christians or any other segment? You say that education is the reason for destabilizing and this dictatorial aspects which are only figments of his own imagination. And please, the less said, the better about Jitendra Awad. Jitendra Awad is a repeated offender. He has continued to do this. He has questioned the coronation of Chhatrapati Shivaji and Sambhaji Maharaj. And then he said that there are oppressors in the Sanatan Dharma against Jyotiba Phule. Where is this distorted history coming from? If you believe that you are here to unite people, talk about an agenda which is development prone. Don't try to divide people on the basis of their caste, creed, culture. And in Tamil Nadu, we have seen time and again. From 2017, Kamal Haasan has been playing this card, flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. He has no clarity of his own ideology or thought process. So, when he talks about fighting dictatorship, I think the dictatorship is in his mind. When he talks about fighting the right to caste hierarchies associated with the Sanatan Dharma does not do any of these equations that you are trying to divide people on. If at all it unites people.
One small word. You say they're playing to the galleries. Yes, they are. They're winning elections. People are playing to galleries on all sides. That's what politics is about. That's what politics discourse is about. Political discourse. You can't have one opinion, one hat
you don't compromise your ideology. You don't.
What are you trying to say? That nobody should have another opinion. They have an opinion.
When you go for a movie theater, you have become
that opinion. All you're saying is he's a repeat offender. Maybe. But what are you offering to counter him? Nothing. Hence their argument
what does knowledge and education do, sir?
There's no argument. And might I tell you,
it has to change unjust laws. What does education do? 1 minute, Arnab. What does education and knowledge do? Education and knowledge work alone to empower society, to change unjust laws. And here you are talking about a majority opinion without education that leads you to your own figment of imagination saying there's dictatorship or there's defeat, there's contradiction here. I want to say if you are breaking the chains of Sanatan, why are you constantly criticizing traditional aspects which are part of our own culture and associated to a progressive society that does away with inequalities? You have only chosen to sermonize
I put this, Atik, I would like to, Atik, I can see that you're on the back foot. I can see that you're badly on back foot, but I want to give another logical point. See, another comment of this Kamal Haasan, he keeps up bringing Nathuram Godse, their favorite subject. They're obsessed. So he says, Free India's first terrorist was a Hindu. Now, would he say that Jinnah provoked Muslims to kill on direct action day, as he called? Would he say
So true.
Jinnah provoked Muslims to kill, Shantanu?
Good point.
He would not say that. He would say, no. There you don't identify Jinnah with religion in that context. Though he set up a religious state, which has now turned into a terrorist state.
Convenience.
My
It's
point is,
convenience, Arnab,
my point being, and my point being, I am not using Osama to put you on the back foot. Am I asking who the world's first terrorist was, from which religion? Am I saying that because of what the Taliban has done with the Bamiyan, Buddha statues, that there should be a comment made on all Muslims?
Arnab, I would like to answer
No,
this.
Atik, listen, no. Why are you getting worked up? Am I using Bindranwale to put all Sikhs on the back foot?
Just read.
Don't try these stunts on me. Shantanu!
Banned terrorist groups in UN list. Just read the names of all banned terrorist groups in the UN list. The topic will be settled there. 99.9% are Islamic terrorist group there in the UN banned list. Not by India.
We'll stay with
Not
that.
by India. By the international committee.
we are going to that break.
All the biggest list of the terrorist groups are Islamic groups. So there is no question end there. Question end there. What we have in the Sanatan Dharma, we have Rishi Charak, जिन्होंने हमें medicine दिया. We have Panini, who gave us grammar. We have Aryabhatta, who gave us a science. That's knowledge even Kamal Haasan should take. Kamal Haasan should learn.
Okay, 1 minute. I have breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. I have breaking news. Donald Trump is saying, I'm going to increase tariffs on India further. We move away from this to the breaking news story. We're going to stay with the political story, build a political panel very quickly. Drop debate number 2 tonight. And we are going straight into a breaking news mode for the next 30 minutes. Donald Trump on Truth Social has once again attacked India. He said, put this on the graphic plate, please. He said, India is not only buying massive amounts of Russian oil, they are then, for much of the oil purchased, selling it to the open market for big profits. They don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by the Russian war machine. Because of this, I will be substantially raising the tariff paid by India to the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, this is interesting. He's going to increase. I mean, he's trying to put in a squeeze out here. I'll try to get some Russians on this, get our economic panelists on this debate. We're going to try and get immediate voices on this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking here only on Republic. Trump says he's going to be increasing tariffs further on India. The point is further, on the breaking news grids, he's going to be substantially raising the tariff paid by India. He's used the word substantially. Underline, Trump says he's going to be substantially further raising the tariff to India. Now, so far he has put 25%, plus he's put a Russia oil business penalty of an undefined number, but which was assumed to be 10%. So we were assuming it'd be 25 plus 10%. But obviously, while the Indians are negotiating with him, he's trying to put the squeeze in. There must be some areas where we have not agreed with Trump, and therefore he's threatening further increase. Now, we don't know where that further increase is going to be. We don't know whether it's going to be 35% or 40% or 45% or even a 50% that Brazil has been made to go through. But this is a one-sided declaration of war. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump escalates the tariff war with India, breaking only on Republic. Trump is escalating the tariff war with India. Trump escalates the tariff war with India. Trump says he's going to substantially increase tariffs on India. Trump puts out an aggressive post saying we're going to be further slapping more tariffs on India. And he's linking it to India's friendship and our business with the Russians. We have no response to Russia yet, but it's quite clear that we are caught in the middle of this Russia versus US trade battle, that we've become the linchpin of this battle. So it serves Trump both ways. He targets Russia, and of course he squeezes India at a time when we were ahead of the other countries in terms of negotiating a tariff deal with America. And all of this is happening because there are reports that India is not giving in. And Narendra Modi has in fact emphasized on the need for Swadeshi or homegrown production. Narendra Modi at every point of time is talking about increasing homegrown production, focusing on the domestic market, and using that to deleverage India from the United States of America. So this is massive. Trump has escalated the tariff war. Trump is getting ready to increase tariffs, and it's not specified a number. I'll be very curious to know what, after the second and unprovoked attack in a week, what is likely to follow, ladies and gentlemen. And Trump is saying that we're going to be really increasing the tariff. He's accusing India. Trump accuses India of funding the Russian war machine. Trump is doing this at a time when he is himself sending a person to negotiate with Russia. And we all know that he's sending someone to negotiate with Russia. He's sending, I think, Mr. Witkoff in the next week to negotiate with Russia. So he's opening up a line of conversation with Russia, increasing the threat and pressure on India, opening a line with Russia, and then saying, using his advisors to say that India and China are together raising the pressure, raising part of the machine that is supporting the Russian economy. Now, these are all last-minute gambits by Trump. He's not liking the noises coming from India, or rather, he's not liking the lack of a response from the Indian government, who we are just going about our business. How do you read this, Shawan? And let's get some more experts into this breaking news story. Shawan.
Well, in fact, two breaking news now coming in. One with regards to increasing the tariff. Remember, earlier it was about 25%, and the 10% was largely as part of the BRICS nation. In fact, a response that came in from those who have been part of the negotiating team indicating that the talks are on. India is going to wait and watch. They're not going to respond at this point in time. Having said that, the negotiation was on. Right now, there was also a speculative report that was put out in the United States of America saying that India is no longer buying oil from Russia. That was dismissed. In fact, you've had the Indian Oil Corporation continuing with buying oil, simply stating the fact that this is part of our national interest. Having said that, as far as the negotiation is concerned, they're saying that they're going to wait and watch right now. This perhaps is the last attempt that Trump is basically now putting pressure perhaps on the negotiating team, particularly in areas of agriculture. Remember, where India has put its foot down, saying that there can be no negotiation, keeping in mind our own interests.
Okay, so Shawan, he's not specifying a number. He's just using the word substantial. We're going to be substantially increasing the tariff, but just leaving it there, very open-ended. But he's also got his own line open with the Russians, because he's sending Witkoff, his envoy, to Russia to start a back-channel negotiation.
Well, in fact, this entire thing of negotiation with Russia at this point in time, there has been no response really coming in from Russia. In fact, a threat that was actually issued by the United States of America, particularly President Trump, saying that 2 nuclear submarines would be sent. In fact, you've had President Putin responding, saying that this is a bluff that has been called off, and the fact that this pressure that the West is essentially trying to put, particularly the United States of America, is no longer tenable to begin with. As far as India is concerned, India is saying that there is no clarity in terms of the number, the tariff that they're talking about. 25% was already there. 10% is part of what they had imposed on the BRIC nations. And as far as this additional thing is concerned, there is no numbers really coming in. So whether at all there is any intent behind it, that's not very clear. Having said that, the negotiation still continues.
The negotiation is there, and there is an American team which was supposed to come to India on the 23rd, 24th, 25th, around that time of this month. Is that still on, or the talks are not off, despite all the sledgehammer that he's carrying around, the tariff sledgehammer? The negotiations haven't really fallen through formally, have they? So the American teams are still coming. He's just sort of pushing hard ahead of that last round of negotiations.
Let's be very clear here, Arnab, because we have spoken to those who have been part of the negotiating team, in fact, the ministry concerned. And in fact, they have made it very clear that they are not going to make any response, because there were some talks going on that perhaps India will officially respond to these claims that have been made by the US president. But it turns out during the parliament session, an indication came in that there will be no response. As far as the negotiation team is concerned, the meetings are still on. There have been multiple levels of talks that have been going on. The bone of contention for being certain sectors where United States of America wants an entry. India has essentially blocked that, and that happens to be one of the other reasons. There was also another report that came in from the United States of America, which was with regards to F-35, whether at all there was a pressure that was being built by United States of America on India to buy the F-35. Those reports have been completely dismissed by India, saying that there is no question of going ahead with any F-35 at this point in time. So these are multiple speculative reports that are essentially being planted by the White House administration.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm repeating the news that we have here. We've just got another, of course, every Trump announcement is a surprise announcement, but he has said that India is buying Russian oil, and therefore India does not care about Ukraine and what's happening in Ukraine. This is, so far-fetched coming from a man who treated Zelensky like dirt, and then he's saying, after all that, he says he's sort of trying to indicate that he's the best friend of the Ukrainians, and in order to punish the Russians, he's going to punish India. There is no rationale in this anymore. It's a one-way street. And, I think what can we expect from India is the question. I think at this point of time, we would not, of course, we are getting this, getting this sort of information that the talks are still on, but they're not happening in a very healthy climate anymore, are they? Ajay Bagga is with us this evening. Ajay, we got this announcement coming in 5 minutes back with another Trump tweet, or rather a post on Truth Social saying he's going to be further and substantially hiking tariffs on India. What number do you think he's looking at, and what can we do, if anything at all?
Arnab, difficult to say what number would he be looking at. What is very clear is that the Chinese have not played ball. So, the Stockholm meeting with the Chinese trade delegation happened last Monday and Tuesday. After that, there was talk that a 90 days breather will be taken, but the President Trump would be deciding that. After that, there is silence. So apparently the Chinese have said that we will continue to buy Iranian oil and Russian oil. So nothing is moving on that end. India, unfortunately, is being made a whipping boy out here. So very difficult to surmise that what would be the escalatory tariff that would be put in. Earlier, Lindsey Graham has said that 500% he's brought in the Senate a bipartisan bill, which they are holding on, waiting for Trump to give the go-ahead. About 84 senators have signed that on an enabling clause to put 500% tariffs on anybody buying Russian oil. But clearly that is not needed because Trump has taken the authority to issue tariffs. So there is no movement on that, and the Senate and the House of Representatives have gone into recess. So no movement there. Then Trump's economic advisors have been talking about 100% possible tariff. So one doesn't know. This is one more pressure tactic today. Markets have bounced back. We saw Asian markets going up. Indian market also ended up today. European markets are up, and even the US markets opened up. So markets are resilient. They are looking through these threats at the actual action. One very interesting development, Arnab, Switzerland, which was playing by the rules, which had sent all its offers to the US, has been hit strangely by 39% tariffs. So there is a lot of political turmoil in Switzerland about it. The government is being attacked. And I would say, in contrast, India has shown a lot of maturity. There is no retaliation. There is no rhetoric. India is just going on talking on the lines of international diplomacy, and quietly back-channel talks are happening. That's the best way to diffuse this situation. My own thinking is Russia-Ukraine will get sorted out in the next 1 to 2 months. Russia is looking for some more territorial concessions and some more recognition Then you will have this sorted out. And all of a sudden, Western countries will be beating a path to Russia to play a role in its reconstruction, because for 3 years, Russian economy has also suffered, and the Chinese have taken up a lot of that supplying zone of Russia. So the Western companies are really straining at the leash to re-enter Russia. And then the reconstruction of Ukraine will be a huge contract coming up. All the infrastructure, everything in Ukraine needs to be rebuilt. So
there are three basic points, Ajay Bagga, in terms of what he said here. I'll get a reaction from Ajay Dua, next former Commerce Secretary. Point number one, he says that India is buying Russian oil. Point number two, he's saying that we don't care about Ukraine. And point number three, he's saying that because we buy Russian oil and we use it, we refine it, and we sell it to the rest of the world, which is true, but we sell it to a lot of the Western world also. We sell a lot of it to Europe also, and they happily lap it up. So that's another hypocrisy of it. But, he's saying that because we do the two things, he's going to be substantially increasing the tariff paid by India to the US. He's not mentioned a date, he's not mentioned a number. What do you think will be the date, and what's the number you think he's looking at?
Thank you, Arnab. While I wouldn't know definitely what would be the date, 7th of August is when he's bringing in, or he has already announced that the effective date for the increased tariffs, which were imposed by him late July, early August, would be the 7th of August. So he can easily do both the things. That means the higher tariff on India of 25%, as well as impose a penalty, which he's been talking of for some time. What will be the level of the penalty is no one knows, but he's repeatedly mentioning. See, till about 10 days ago, when he was hopeful that President Putin will listen to him and sit down with Zelensky to work out a ceasefire first and then to settle the matter, he seems to be highly disappointed, because it was his election manifesto virtually. They don't issue a manifesto per se in the US, but repeatedly saying, once I am in office, within a week or two, I'll bring this conflict to an end. He seems disappointed. Similarly, for 2 or 3 reasons, as you've already discussed, including, I think, what broke the camel's back was when in the parliament, both our foreign minister and next day the prime minister said that there was no mediation of anybody else in putting a ceasefire with Pakistan in the Operation Sindoor. It is since then, if I could use the word belligerent, he's become belligerent. He's talking about, and Russia is, he shortened the period in which the Russia must act. That's 12 days. So I presume that we might get 12 days from the time he put in this threat. He kind of started talking of a high levy for dealing with Russia. So it will be about the same time, because I think it was on the 25th or the 26th of July. He talked about 12 days time he's giving to Russia. It coincides with the 7th or the 8th of. So it could well be that. And now he's got another reason. It is not, and I think it's only a retort to what has been pointed out on various TV channels, including yours, that the US has been buying some of the oil which might have come from from Russia, but which was refined in India and exported to European countries as well as other Western countries. A number was put that last year, about a couple of months ago, I would say, in the month of May, $1.2 billion worth of such refined oil was sold by Indian refiners to the developed countries. So here it is, if his own allies, I'm not calling them ex-allies as yet, the way he's behaving with them, at least he's virtually treating them as strangers, if not foes, that the situation is reached such a level that the people who had put the sanctions themselves are abrogating it virtually. Underhand dealings or buying through in third countries, etc., has remained rampant of the Russian products all through the Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine.
Yeah, so, all of this is happening. This is an attempt to put more pressure on Delhi to stop trading with Moscow. That is not going to happen. We're quite clear that's not going to happen. But he's asking for a strategic rebalancing. He's asking for India to be completely within the American camp. Ashish Wakankar with us this evening. Ashish, what do you think? What should our response be? Should we just be cool and see how his talks with the Russians play out?
Good evening, Arnab. Basically, if someone, all I would like to say is somebody is behaving in an impulsive manner, we don't get into that, reactionary mode. We have to look at what are our own interests. Keep that in mind most. So what you need to do now, and what the government would be doing, and I'm fairly confident going by the last 11 years, the way they have handled one after the other crisis, they will handle this also very maturely, and we will see ourselves through. It's just a matter of time. So what it needs to be done right now is to take a look at, pending the talks with Russia and all that, those things will kind of keep going on. What you need to really look at right now is the opportunity cost that you would incur if you were to buy Russian oil, continue to buy Russian defense equipment, and the tariffs. Now, we don't have the new number that he has in mind. Probably he himself doesn't know what is the number. So anybody trying to say that he has an idea of the number, I would think it's laughable, because that number is not known to him as well. So point is, whenever that number comes out, what is the cost of that versus the cost that you will incur continuing to buy Russian oil and Russian defense is what I think the government will have to do. Get down on the drawing board, figure out, and then take a call. It's all about maths. It's all about finance. Ultimately, opportunity cost is what you need to figure out, and then balance it out. We have so far handled it really well. We have not gone and reacted. Somebody wants to put it on Truth Social, somebody wants to put it on Twitter, then give an executive order. We have given a very balanced response to this. We wait for the negotiators to come down in the second half of August. The bilateral trade agreement with US, the discussions will continue. Final picture will emerge once the talks are through. Till then, this kind of noise, this kind of impulsive behavior, somebody wants to do, good luck with the person, don't react. I think going by the last 11 years of this government, they will do it, and they will handle it in an absolute mature way. I'm quite confident about
all
it.
of this happening while his ego issue with Putin gets worse by the day. And, there have been threats, nuclear threats being made on all sides. And Putin, via the Kremlin, has said, don't play around with nuclear weapons. Don't threaten nuclear weapons. Trump is playing around with nuclear weapons, nuclear submarines, like it was a game of chess, just moving one, moving another, making a public announcement about it, getting into a war with Putin's close aide, Medvedev, and then saying that I will make an announcement about placing of submarines and we don't want nuclear war. So every time there's a peaking of an ego issue from his side, we see a dangerous fallout. Now, he wants to win with Putin, vis-a-vis Putin at all cost. And caught in the middle of this, he feels that every move that he can do vis-a-vis Putin is to be played out right now. And therefore, he knows the leverage that India has. So in a way right now, it's also a very important time for India. We know our importance, but we can't change our strategic game because of Trump, because Trump himself is a short-term political phenomenon in America. That's the general expectation. And he's himself in a lot of trouble with the allegations of pedophilia and everything else. Now, we have therefore got to play our game very, very carefully. I have with me Ajay Sahai, he's Director General and CEO of Federation of Indian Export Organization, FIEO. Dr. Sahai, how do you think the government is reacting? What's the inside story you're hearing?
In fact, government has rightly said that they will decide what is the national interest. In the national interest, we have to look into our long-term partnership also. We have to look into our strategic partnership, and government response has been pretty balanced. We are still waiting for the US negotiating team to come. And if that happens, we will continue with our talk. And these kinds of statements are a kind of negotiating posture. We want to play tough, but I'm pretty sure that government of India will do whatever is best in the national interest.
Yeah, because he's not pulled out from talks. He's only threatening. And there's a big difference between the two.
I know, in fact, in the past also, he said about the penalties for oil imports. We have to take a call to what extent it may dent our export, to what extent we are benefited by import of oil. And not only us, probably the whole world has been benefited. Had it not been the Russian oil import by India and China, global prices may have moved up also. And it's not that if our exports are dented, we will find some way out. We are not a South